Hello, and welcome to Healthy California podcast. My name is Linda Brown, and I am the host of Healthy California, where my goal is to help educate you on your daily choices so we all can become healthy. I believe you, your family, your neighbor, and your community are all looking for better ways and simple ways to return to being healthy. Many of you have health issues or have family that's going through tough times that seemingly have no answers. It's frustrating. There are questions about health, environment, foods, exercise, and lifestyle, and it can be all overwhelming. And who do you believe? And where's the science behind it? This podcast will unravel the mystery behind being unhealthy and talk about little things that we can do in our lives to make a positive change in our health from all angles. So to be healthy, we need to have physical health, mental health, environmental health, financial and social health, and of course, spiritual health. Let's answer some of these questions to get healthy. What good is just listening to a podcast? I will give you resources as well, ways to take steps and make positive changes in your life to becoming healthy. This is a journey, not an assignment, so be kind to yourself. Hello everyone, Linda Brown here. This week we are doing part 2 of toxins. Last week we talked about what toxins were, what they do to your body. So let me give you a refresher on that. Why it's important that we know what is in our environment, right? Toxins are endocrine disruptors, which means endocrine is our hormone. So they are hormone disruptors. They are obesogens, which means that they make us obese. And I'll go over that again. They are carcinogenic, which means they're cancer causing, and they are neurogenic or neurotoxins, which means that it affects our nerves. What's the biggest nerve in our body, right? It's our brain. So definitely can affect our brain. What do toxins do in our body? So low energy. We often get maybe more sick than we should. Low testosterone and estrogens. That makes sense because toxins are endocrine disruptors. Sometimes we'll see headaches or inability to sleep, blood sugar dysregulation, right? So that's kind of leading up to diabetes. Respiratory symptoms, weight gain, increased risk of cancer. So those are some of the effects of toxins, and that's one of the main reasons why I want to talk about this. So now, what do we do about it? So that's what I'm talking about this week. What do we do about having toxins in our body? Now, it's not about the toxin necessarily, it's about the toxic burden, because we can't avoid toxins in our environment. If you try to avoid every toxin in the environment, you will literally go crazy. And then you can get neurotic about it, but then that's not good for your health either, right? It's not about the toxin as much as it is about the burden on your body. Toxic burden means that there's more toxins than what your liver or your kidney can filter. Sometimes when we have a lot of toxin exposure, our liver gets sluggish, it gets backed up, it slows down, it becomes inefficient. And then that's when we start to see the low energy, fatigue, getting sick more often, hormone dysregulation, headaches, inability to sleep, blood sugar dysregulation, weight gain for sure. So that's what the toxic burden does. We don't want to burden our liver. Remember that the liver and kidneys are already a filter. So our body was meant to filter and detoxify. That's what it does. That's what they do, the kidneys and the liver. But since it gets backed up sometimes and it starts to slow down, we want to take care of our liver. We want to do this annually. I believe that we need to do a liver detox annually because we are exposed to so many toxins everywhere, in our food, in our water, in our air, on our skin. We just have we're being bombarded with toxins, and the world is out to kill us, right? We don't want to stress out about it, but we do want to take care of our liver so that we can detoxify. I have a liver detox program coming up at the end of May, beginning of June, and I'd like for you to do a detox with me if you haven't done one. I'll tell you more about that later, but put it on your calendar and get ready for a detox the end of May, right after Memorial Day. What do we do? So let's say we have a toxic burden in our body, we're feeling tired, we're starting to get sick more often. What do we do? So when we detox the liver, there's actually 3 phases of detox. 2 of the liver, and then the third one is elimination. In the first phase of our liver detox is where we take the toxins and we turn it, the liver turns it into a water-soluble form. So that's phase 1. And then in phase 2, we take that water-soluble form and then turn it into another compound. It converts it into another compound that then can be eliminated. And then phase 3, it's eliminated. So there's the 2 phases in the liver are turning it into a water-soluble form and then transforming that into something that can be eliminated. So how do we convert it to a water-soluble form? The liver does that with our B vitamins. So we need B vitamins, we need antioxidants, we need fat-soluble vitamins, we need glutathione, we need N-acetylcysteine. Those are supplements that we can take to help this process, but we can also find all that in our diet, right? Let me go through these a little bit slower. B vitamins, all the B vitamins, including folate. So folate is a B vitamin, and not folic acid, but folate. B vitamins, and I'm saying this again in case you want to write this down. So B vitamins, antioxidants. Antioxidants are your vitamin C, vitamin E. There's pretty much all the vitamins. But vitamin C is a really big antioxidant. Vitamin E is as well, and it's also an anti-inflammatory. Milk thistle is also an antioxidant, and you can get milk thistle pretty much anywhere these days. I like it in a liquid form where you just have it in a dropper. And then I talked about fat-soluble vitamins. The vitamins that are fat-soluble are your A, D, K, and E. So vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K, and vitamin E. Those are all fat-soluble vitamins. And then glutathione is also an antioxidant. And then the N-acetylcysteine. And so all these compounds or vitamins or cofactors are needed in order to convert the toxin into a water-soluble form. That is what the liver needs. But if you don't have those vitamins or those cofactors, then we can get them through our diet. We're intended to get them through our diet. In the meantime, if you're doing a liver detox, we want to remove things from our diet that is affecting our liver. So what is that? You need to remove all sugary drinks, even if it is supposedly good, right? Like an apple juice or an orange juice, that is actually filled with sugar. So remove all sugary drinks, even if it says sugar-free. A sugar-free drink is, unless it's water, a sugar-free drink is not a good drink. If it still has a sweet taste to it, it's a sugar of some sort, and it's not going to be a healthy one. So artificial sugar, artificial sweeteners are absolutely no good. They're just chemical. You want to remove alcohol, because we know that alcohol is hard on the liver. Remove all sugars, added sugars, any sugars, remove it all. Remove gluten. Gluten you would find in bread, pasta, baked goods. Anything that is made with wheat in the U.S. for the most part is high in gluten, and it's inflammatory. We want to remove all processed foods. If it has a shelf life, it's going to be processed. So remove all processed foods. If it comes in a package, it has to list ingredients on it, then it's processed. For a liver detox, get rid of it. And then I am not anti-meat, but if you are doing a specific liver detox, then for a short period of time, you want to remove red meat just to give your liver a break. If you're not doing a liver detox necessarily, and you just want to add these suggestions just for a little bit, then by all means eat the red meat, but make sure it's hormone free and antibiotic free. And I think I talked about that in episode 3, so you can go back and listen to that. And then you will want to remove all seed oils. So corn, canola, and cotton, safola, soy, and sunflower. Remove all those seed oils. That will help give your liver a break. So that's phase one. All those cofactors, vitamins, and removing all the foods that are going to make your liver work hard. You can eat salads, you can eat fruit, vegetables, eggs, fish, nuts, hormone-free turkey or chicken. Make sure it's not from deli. It's not a deli meat. Deli meat is filled with preservatives. And then if you are eating a salad, just use olive oil as your salad dressing or squeeze lemon on the top. But salad dressing is filled with preservatives, it's filled with fillers, and a lot of them actually have gluten in it, and they have seed oils. Salad dressing, even though the salad might be healthy, the dressing is not healthy. So make your own dressing. Actually, dressings are pretty easy to make. And if you are just looking to get some more healthy fat, just pour some olive oil on the top. It's actually delicious. So that's phase one. I want to take a second to share a helpful resource with you. I have a free health questionnaire designed to pinpoint the areas in your life that you need to focus on for optimal wellness. If you're interested, simply click the link in the show notes or visit heal-throughfood.com to access it. Now let's dive back into the show. Taking care of your liver. Phase two is taking that water-soluble form and turning it into a compound that can then be eliminated. What do we need to do to get to phase two? Well, you need your B vitamins again. So B vitamins, you need amino acids like glycine, taurine, cysteine, glutamine. Those are found in meat. They're found everywhere, but so you want to have just good amino acids. Again, NAC, N-acetylcysteine, and then sulfur. Sulfur is something you would just find in meats and eggs and cruciferous vegetables, the natural form of sulfur. You wouldn't want to take sulfur as a supplement, but you can definitely find it easily in foods. And we need the sulfur to conjugate that compound into a form that can be eliminated from the liver. So it's actually important. So those are cofactors that will help the liver in this process. The liver needs that for this phase two. If you don't have those vitamins, then what do? You just eat eggs, organ meats, cruciferous vegetables, nuts, legumes, dairy. And I say dairy hesitantly because a lot of people are allergic to dairy or at least have a sensitivity to dairy. Just know that dairy actually has a good source of sulfur. However, it might be better to find different forms because a lot of people have a dairy sensitivity and don't even really know it. So that's phase two. So remember when I was talking about toxins being obesogenic? That means that they can make you obese. Well, how that happens is the liver will take lipoproteins. They're just compounds that transport things. And so if you know that HDL means high density lipoprotein, LDL means low density lipoprotein, they're in the HDL and the LDL, they're both lipoproteins. The LDL comes from the liver and goes to the tissue, and then the HDL comes from the tissue and goes to the liver. In those lipoproteins, they're just transporters. If the liver has toxins and it needs to get rid of the toxins, those toxins will then be put in a transporter of some sort, a lipoprotein. And since we are talking about the liver taking a toxin and making it water soluble, well, if you think about this toxin being not water soluble, that means it's more fat soluble. A fat soluble compound or toxin in this case will hitch a ride to the tissue. In this case, it might be hitching a ride on a lipoprotein from the liver. So the liver it's detoxing. It's trying to figure out what to do with these toxins. It's going to get rid of it, and then it's going to be stored. It's going to go into some sort of transport lipoprotein, and then it's going to go to the tissue. Well, if we keep having toxins hitching a ride to the tissue, we're going to increase our fat. So toxins will increase our fat because the liver doesn't know what to do with the toxins. So the toxins will go to our fat. We have more toxins, then we're going to create more fat so that it has more place for storage. That is how a toxin can become obesogenic. Now, if you think about that, a lot of times when we do a liver detox, sometimes we just naturally lose fat just because our liver and our body can get rid of these toxins and there's no reason to hold on to the fat. So a lot of times when we do a liver detox, the result of that might be some weight loss, but that's not the that's not the reason why we do a liver detox, but it might be a result. Well, what about phase 3? The final phase of this. This is the part that is just the eliminating out of the liver. We've taken our toxin, we've turned it into a water-soluble form, we've turned it into a compound that can then be eliminated, and now we're eliminating. So the elimination process, what do we do about that? Well, we want to have good hydration. We can use herbs to help that process. We can use binders and chelators that actually binds onto the toxin so that it can be removed. And then of course there's enemas. You can do enemas for elimination. What can we do in our diet that can help with this process? Like I said, hydration, but make sure that your water has electrolytes in it, because electrolytes are minerals, right? And they're cofactors for processes to happen. And then the milk thistle. And milk thistle is a great herb that you can add to take care of your liver. And that's something that you can take year round just to help your liver and not necessarily do it during a detox. Other herbs that you can take are dandelion root, licorice root, burdock root, turmeric, ginger, artichoke. Those are all great for the elimination process. And if you cook with turmeric, then that's great. You don't have to do anything special like with a supplement or anything. You can just add it into your diet. If you like ginger, add it into your diet. Cook with it. Eat artichokes. All that is going to be great for helping the phase 3 of your liver. What I want to bring up is constipation. I talked about it. It was like one of my very first podcast, I think podcast number 2. You can go back and listen to it if you are constipated. But if you are trying to eliminate and you have constipation, that the toxins that are being removed from the liver, if they're not moving through your intestines, they're sitting there and they're going to get absorbed back into your body. So it's really important that you don't try to detox your liver if you're constipated. You need to resolve that constipation first, get things moving, and then detox your liver. If you are constipated and you have those toxins just sitting there, that's a toxic load just sitting there in your intestines. So if you think about it, constipation is a greater determiner of colon cancer than family history by far. So if you have a family predisposition to colon cancer, it's important that you get your colonoscopies. However, it's even more important to make sure that if you have constipation, you resolve it. Constipation is not normal. So constipation, the definition of it is having less than 1 bowel movement a day. And especially if you don't have one every 3 days. But however many meals you eat during the day, if you eat 3 meals a day, you should actually be going to the bathroom three times a day. At least 2 to 3 times a day. If you eat 2 meals a day, then you should be going 1 to 2 times a day. If you are going less than that, that's a problem. And then you can go back and listen to my podcast number 2 on how to resolve your constipation. But I really want to emphasize that, because if you're trying to detox your liver, but it's not moving through your intestines, then it's just sitting there and it's toxic. And it can't just be sitting there, because then your body's going to respond to it. It's either going to absorb it back up, which increases the toxic burden on your body, or it's going to give you a greater risk of colon cancer. So that's why I'm emphasizing it. I want to remind you that taking care of your liver does not mean starving it. In the Bible, it says it will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. And they weren't talking about a liver detox by any means, but if you are healing your flesh, it's good for your bones, it's good for your body, it's good for everything. So it's important that you take care of it. And the reason why I say that you need to replenish and feed the liver and take care of it. If you are doing a liver cleanse, which is different than liver detox, if you're doing a liver cleanse and you buy one online and you're drinking these teas for 3 or 4 days and it's making you starve yourself and it's a liquid diet, now think about what's happening in the liver, not to mention what's happening, in your hangry mind. But the liver needs all those cofactors. It needs all those vitamins and those antioxidants to convert one thing into another, to get rid of the toxins. If you're just doing a cleanse that's starving yourself, that's not really doing anything to the liver. It's not replenishing. It's not giving the liver anything to replenish. And our body wasn't meant to starve like that. Our body was meant to use nutrients in order to heal. So don't go online and do a big liver cleanse that you're just drinking teas and you don't even know what's in the tea. You don't know if it has all those cofactors that you need to convert. That was just a little heads up for you. This is hard. Sometimes to cut all that stuff out of your diet is hard. So do it with your family. Get your family used to doing this once a year. I don't want this journey to be by yourself. It needs to be with supportive people. And I would love for you to be a role model to your family, to be able to just, I can do this for a month and I'm taking care of my body so that I can go back to living a normal life. And then, after you do a liver detox, you can, you're going to feel better during the detox, maybe not as much because your body is going to want to eat the things it wants to eat. But at the end of it, I promise you are going to feel much better. And you might even decide that maybe I don't want to bring back the breads into my life, or I don't want to drink the coffees anymore. So anyways, that is a liver detox to get rid of all the toxins that we're exposed to. I have a reference from the Environmental Working Group, and it's detoxing. It's a reference from an Environmental Working Group on personal care products that you can look up to see if it has toxins in it. We have lotions that we put on our skin. Some of them are filled with toxins. Even our sunscreen. The sunscreen is supposed to be good for us, right? But if the sunscreen is toxic, then what's really giving you skin cancer? Is it all the toxic sunscreen or is it the sun? It's a good question. But if you go into the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org, you can find sunscreens in there that are healthy, that are good for your skin, and they're going to protect you from the sun if you need that, and then not build up the toxic burden in you. In addition, the Environmental Working Group also is the one that makes the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. So the Clean 15 is a list of the cleanest foods that don't have toxins, and the Dirty Dozen is the dirtiest foods that have toxins. And you'd be surprised how healthy something seems, but actually how much toxins it has. So if you go to ewg.org, you can find the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, or just Google it and you'll find it. It's pretty interesting. All right, so I think that is going to be it for today. So I want you to keep an ear open for this liver detox that we're going to be doing the end of May. I'll keep reminding you as we get to that point, but I really want you to consider doing a liver detox. It's once a year, it's a month, you can do it, and it's going to be the best thing you can do for your body to love your liver and love your body. Keep that in mind, and I will be back next week. Take care. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something new. Health care and treatment should focus on being proactive and preventative, emphasizing the importance of addressing the root cause of a disease or illness. While the U.S. has an excellent trauma medicine system, helping patients when problems arise, our goals should be to prevent disease before they happen. That's why this podcast is so important to me. If you're needing further guidance or have questions on a particular matter, you can find my contact information in the show notes, where you can set up a 15-minute consultation. I also recommend you adding a functional nutritionist, a functional medicine practitioner, and a physical therapist to your healthcare team. This podcast reflects my personal opinions based on extensive research and education. It is not intended for medical diagnosis or treatment and should never replace the advice from your doctor or other healthcare professionals. To continue providing this free information, I rely on your support. Follow, subscribe, like, and share this podcast with your family and friends, or on social media. Don't forget to turn on your notifications to stay updated whenever I have a new episode released. Educating you and empowering you to take back your health is my ultimate goal. By gathering knowledge and implementing small but impactful changes, you can reclaim your well-being. This is a journey, not a quick fix, so be kind to yourself, and I'll be there to help. You got this.